You used a word a couple times, and I just want to revisit that. You used the word enemy multiple times for China. I assume you obviously are very careful with your words. Are they a full-on enemy of the United States? Is that something you're very comfortable using?
Well, I mean, here's the deal. If somebody says they're your enemy, like they say it, like America is our enemy and we want to destroy America.
Yeah. Like North Korea says this openly.
Like if somebody comes up to you and say, I'm gonna kill you. Now, do you say that's a friend?
Right. No, I don't think anyone's establishing that they're
a
friend.
But I mean, this is the thing. This is a crazy thing. This is what they say all the time.
Wow.
And then
you're saying you mean she,
the Chinese Communist Party. I mean, this is what they believe. Like,
how long have they been using that rhetoric?
From the beginning.
Beginning of what? Xi's administration?
From the beginning of the Chinese Communist Party.
Oh wow. So why did Trump say I get along so well with Xi? Was it sort of an act? What was that relationship?
So I mean,
in
look.
Your opinion?
So there's two things here. One is, what strategy we're taking with regard to China. That's one thing. The other is, if you have a confrontation with another country that has nuclear weapons and you don't establish some kind of communication dialogue, that could be very dangerous.
Like Cold War Russia days, basically.
Exactly, and I think the one thing I actually agreed with the president. It doesn't matter who it is. You need to maintain an open dialogue. Like, he got criticized for talking to Kim Jong-un. You got to talk to these people.
Yeah.
Even though you are executing a strategy to you stop what they're doing. You have
which Mac do you have?
It's is essentially you don't make peace with your friends, you make peace with your enemies. Essentially.
No. You have okay. Say what happens. We get into crisis, confrontation, then it becomes the military. Now you can't talk, and now we both have nuclear weapons. That's not a good recipe. In fact, we worked really hard with the Soviets to make sure that we had this connection. We had a red phone between Moscow and Washington, D.C. to ensure that, hey, we want to make sure that this doesn't escalate into full-blown conflict, because if it is, the world's over. That's why.
I know we're going to transition here. Simplifying things, scale of 1 to 10. 10 being like full-on nuclear war, 1 being peace, Switzerland, what have you. How bad were things during the Cold War in the 50s, 60s with Russia, 1 through 10, and how bad are things in that same scope with China today?
Well, so there's two parts to that. There's the military, say, confrontation. I would say that was, could be, at sometimes a 10, or approaching a 10
with Russia,
with the Soviet Union. I would say, but economically, we were killing them. We were kicking their ass. And so what's going on today is, the military's been dialed down quite a bit, but economically China's kicking our ass, and they're kicking our ass because they've gotten Wall Street and corporate America to basically do what they want.
Wow.
Which, by the way, did not happen during the Cold War because we had something called COCOM. COCOM prevented the interaction between our business community and the Soviets.
I want to show you something. A lot of time when you see Xi, he seems very calm.
Stoic.
He seems stoic, like composure. He has that smile. This is a wonderful, loving speech that he gave just a month ago. Not even a month ago, 10 days ago. If you go lower at their 100-year celebration, go up a little bit, you went way too low. Okay, where he says socialism is good, some bullying, so keep going up. Okay, there it is, right there. If you make it a little bit bigger, Kai, where it says socialism is good. So it says Beijing celebrates. Celebrations began with a patriotic show in Tiananmen Square as helicopters and fighter jets flew overhead. Hundreds of school children, party members, and frontline healthcare workers sang songs like "Socialism is good." And without the Chinese Communist Party, there would be no new China. But the centerpiece of the celebration was a fiery speech given by Communist Party Chairman Xi Jinping. And here's what he said: "The Chinese people will never allow any foreign forces to bully, oppress, or enslave us. Anyone who dares will have their heads cracked and their blood will flow before the streets, before the steel Great Wall built with the flesh and blood of 1.4 billion Chinese people." Let me read that to you one more time. Anyone who dares will have their heads cracked. You know who talks like that?
Trump.
Sammy the Bull talks like that.
Exactly.
Who says we will have your skull cracked, your head cracked. That's who your enemy is, Adam. If you were wondering, I just wanted to clarify it for
Thank you for
that's why
Thank
they
you.
say
Keep
China's-
continue, by the way.
So if you continue reading a little bit more to help Adam here, folks, let's go a little lower, Kai. Wearing the McDonald's party and G spent more than an hour laying the Communist Party passing.
No, he's wearing a Mao suit in front of a giant picture of
do we have
Mao.
a picture of
telling you, yeah, it's all the way at the top. So the Communist Party of China and the Chinese people, with their bravery and tenacity, solemnly proclaim to the world that the Chinese people are not only good at taking down the old world, but also good at building a new one. Only socialism can save China, and only socialism with Chinese characteristics can develop China. You know what's crazy? Here's what I was talking about with a group in Aruba just 4 days ago. I said, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. I said, how many times have you and your wife gone to an argument? How many times have you and your wife gone to an argument? Mine, I can tell you mine, thousands, hundreds. Yeah, it's a lot of arguments.
A lot.
Okay, now I want you to think about this. Take the top 10 arguments you guys had, okay? I'm going to take my top 10 arguments. Now let's make that, whether it was a 30-minute fight or 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, we put that on a Facebook Live, okay? And everybody sees that fight. Visually go to that fight, right? If I see your top 10 fights between you and your wife, if somebody sees the top 10 fights between me and my wife, how much leverage does the enemy have to help get us closer to a divorce than help us stay married? How much more leverage do they have? America is the left wing and the right wing. Call one the husband, the other the wife, whatever it may be, right? Left wing would be wife, right wing would be husband, let's just say, because left would be like, let's spend money, right is like, let's save money, this takes a lot of work to do this.
Gas and the brakes in the car.
Gas and the brakes, whatever you want to call it, right?
Two sides of the bird.
The left wing and the right wing's the last top 100 biggest fights the world's watching. China sat there watching this saying, look at these idiots. So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.